Hey, how are you guys? It is Harrison Barron from Growth Generators, growth-generators.com. Now, in this video, I want to share with you guys a cool experience that I just had with a new person starting an MSP, a managed service provider. Now, if you are not in the MSP world, this is still going to be a great video for you to watch, or the IT world, just because if you're at $0 per month and you are a service-based business, this video is jam-packed with crazy, crazy value. Now, in this particular scenario, the person that I just spoke to actually reached out from YouTube, so thank you very much. But he has a interesting perspective. He has a full-time job. He makes some pretty decent money, but he is looking to leave his job and basically become a business owner, which is the greatest thing, in my opinion, in the world. So we asked a bunch of questions. We kind of brainstormed some ideas, and I think what we came up with, or I came up with, was is the best scenario and the best plan of action. Now, he kind of covers the gamut of several of the videos that I've recently just made. So we're going to be talking about pricing. We're going to talk about whether or not you think you have businesses that you can help in your area, and the first steps that you need to actually take in order to be successful. Now, I'm going to put that at the end because obviously I want the watch time, but it's the most valuable information after you get through the first two sections. So in this case, this individual lives in Canada, specifically an area called Red Deer. And I'm going to actually share my computer real quickly. But if you look at Red Deer, I mean, we are talking all the way out there. By the way, if you're in Canada, I don't know how you deal with the cold. I much prefer the warmer areas of North Carolina, which is where I reside. But he's out here in Red Deer, and he was thinking about, like, hey, where should I go? Should I go over to Edmonton? Should I go over to Calgary? And I started toying around with ideas, and I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of areas that we're probably, or you're probably missing right off the bat that can easily get you to that $5,000 a month that I think is a good launching point to become successful. If you're not making at least $5,000 a month, you have to watch this whole video. If you're making more than that, you're probably going to find some value, but you've got a pretty good idea of what you need to do. First thing is how are you actually growing the business? How are you prospecting? How are you going out and getting business? I hate this little device, but this little thing is a weapon when used correctly. And what I mean by that is if you are somebody that is looking to grow your business, cold call. Cold calling still works. It sucks. It's not fun, but it still works. But you got to have either a script or you got to be prepared to be able to speak to whomever is on the other side of that phone. I have friends that cold call and make buckets and buckets of money, and their sales teams make buckets of money purely out of cold calling because not that many people do it anymore because it's not fun. Trust me, it's not an exciting experience. But if you're somebody that's like, I don't want to cold call, I'm going to share with you guys kind of some ideas that I ran through that I think are going to be really, really effective. Now, I can confidently say that I didn't do much cold calling, although I did do cold calling. I was a bit of a networker when I was selling IT services. And now that I'm in digital marketing, I get everything from the internet. But I have no problem doing what I'm about to tell you. Number one is door knocking. Now, I'm not saying go door knock every single person there ever was out there. But what we did was we went through and we were looking at, like, okay, we got Red Deer, right? You're trying to get your first client. Let's think about who we could go target. First of all, I would highly recommend, if you're starting a business, go join your local chamber of commerce. They are there specifically to go help businesses grow. Go in there, go network, go meet people. But if you're like, you know what, I don't have the money to go join a chamber of commerce, usually a few $100 a year, then the next best thing is start to think about who you could help. Now, I talked about this in a previous video, but think about where you could niche down in here. Now, we went through, and as you progressively see, there's some pretty big, I didn't think it was going to be as big of a town as it is, but there's some pretty big companies in here. You have hotels, there's a college floating around down here, Polytechnic, or university as the rest of the world would say. You have casino. I mean, there's some pretty heavy hitters in here. But what a lot of people don't realize is just because you might think, I want to go target a hotel, you can't handle a hotel when you're one person. I'm telling you that right off the bat. It is probably pretty difficult. Not because you can't, but they usually have a bunch of computers. They have the regular computers that you kind of work on when you're visiting the hotel. They have a ton of Wi-Fi. They probably have cameras hooked up to it. They probably have routers and firewalls and servers. Who knows what they all have? They're all different. They're all ran different. But what I thought about was, what about an underserved market? Every single area has plumbers, they have electricians, they have carpenters, they have roofers. There are these companies out there that probably stink at using technology, and you could make a lot of you could give them a lot of help. You can make them a lot of profit, because if their computers are working effectively, that means their whole team is working effectively, which essentially means that they're going to make more money. If they're only operating at 75% of their capabilities because they're constantly having computer issues, and you could be the resolution to all of those headaches, they are going to make more money. So think about it. Plumbers, HVAC, electric, contractors, maybe even landscaping companies, they all use computers. And how do I know this? Because it is so rare to find a company that still takes physical checks, that has that little, and some of you may not even know, but that thing that you put the credit card in and you used to run it across to get the credit card number. Nobody does that. Everybody uses a computer to either do QuickBooks or to have their CRM. So I thought, what about, okay, we've now covered some easy targets. Go through and say, hey, if you already have a job, then plan the hours that you aren't working immediately after. Or if you are like, I'm going 0 to 100 today, starting right after this video ends, what do I need to do next? Go plan your day for door knocking. Go out there, pick an industry, hit every single plumber out there, and just go through. Okay, I'm going to map this out. This guy's here, this guy's here, this guy's here. What's the fastest route? I'm sure there's an app for it, or a website that you can go to. What's the fastest route? You put in all the addresses. It'll give you the shortest amount of driving with the fastest to get to all of them. Go out there. Hey, my name is Harrison in this case. I provide IT services. I'm looking to see if I can help you guys out if you guys are having any computer issues. The worst that they can say is no. That's the best part. They're not your client. They're not firing you. They could just say no. You go to get a cup of coffee. Do you want to leave a tip? You got groceries? Do you want to leave? Do you want to donate? You have the option. It doesn't mean you have to do it or you don't have to do it. Whether or not what you choose is totally up to you, by the way. But the worst that they could say is no. They're not already a client of yours. If they say no, you're not losing money. You didn't have the sale already to begin with. So right off the bat, those are the best areas to go to. Number 2 is partner with somebody local. I hate to say it, but there's a lot of digital marketers out there that kind of stink. And when I say that, they aren't good at digital marketing, but they happen to be very entrenched in their local communities. So somebody buys a website from them, or somebody buys services from them, or ads, or whatever it may be. That's great. Go leverage a digital marketing agency. Hey, by the way, and not hiring them. Hey, by the way, when you guys build somebody's website, do you ever talk about other, IT or technical questions? Because we all know that we're both getting in there as far as the domain access and potential DNS settings and MX records if you're setting up their email addresses. Go partner with these companies. Hey, by the way, who do you guys refer out your business to when somebody says they have a computer issue? I know that you're probably not doing it. Can I be that person? And start meeting with them on a regular bi-weekly basis. I like bi-weekly or monthly basis because it's enough, but it's not too much. But go strategically partner. You have cabling services. Everybody has an Ethernet jack. You have telecom services, phone systems. They still exist and they are in maybe not the highest of demand, but they're still in demand. It is simply a no-brainer. Go through your local directory of who you might think, who you think you could help. Auto repair shops, another one. Now, they're not going to be a good referral for you, but there's just ideas out there. What I would say is stay away from these 2 industries. Anything that HIPAA has to rely on and FINRA has to rely on. You do not want to be jumping through hoops when you are a 1 or 2 man team. It is going to be an absolute nightmare for you. And if you're like, hey, I don't know who, they're not willing to buy anything, ask them, what's your tech stack? Do they need a CRM? Bring them over to me. I'll happily help them. Do they need a website? Bring them over to that local digital marketing agency or me. I can help them. Do they need payroll? Call a local payroll company and say, hey, you know what? I have a company that I think would be a good fit for you. They're about this big. Do you guys specialize in payroll, or can you guys do payroll for that kind of company? Yes. Great. I'm going to send them over. If you guys pay a referral fee, I really appreciate it. But you're providing value first. You're bringing in that ideal client in there. And if you're like, hey, none of that stuff works, right? Think about surrounding towns. We got Red Deer here. We have Springbrook, Penhold. We have Innisfail, Sylvan Lake, Black Falls, right? Lacombe. All these areas are all around the city before you get into a major city. Now, if you're like, all right, I've done all that. I've gone to all these places. I kind of helped them out. I fixed some of their computers. I cleaned up their computers. What else can I do? Start with low barriers of entry to sell them. Backup services. Hey, if you get attacked, we're going to have a whole backup setup for you. Perfect. Antivirus. Every company, every computer in the world should have some level of antivirus. But the sad part is a lot of them don't. Sell it. You might only make $1 or $2, but $1 or $2 times 1,000 computers is $1,000 a month. It's a starting point. It's your entry point in there. Nobody goes out and buys a Ferrari as their first car. I shouldn't say nobody, but the majority of people. It's too much power. It's too much to handle. They start out with a regular car, usually. Then they go to a lower-end sports car. Then they go to a mid-end sports car. And then they go to the high-end sports car. You don't just drive a Mack truck as your first vehicle. You go and drive either a small pickup truck, and then you work your way up and work your way up and work your way up. Same thing. Just get in the door with a basic service that you could possibly offer. Now, I've talked a lot about small services, going and finding out that first client. And I did say I was going to introduce something that you probably need before you do any of this, and this is the secret sauce. You have to be good at sales. Let me repeat that. You have to be good at sales. There are tons of sales courses out there. I'm not going to recommend a specific one. I like Udemy for learning sales courses, but if there's somebody that you follow in sales, preferably not Grant Cardone, although he does offer some pretty good sales training, pretty good, for like, I think it's $100 a month, go take it and learn. It's Friday. By Monday morning, you're not going to be a sales master. Don't expect to be a sales master. But by Monday morning, you should have some basic fundamentals of sales. So when you go and you pitch these companies about how you can help them, the services that you can offer, when you're going to be able to help do, your tech support and all that and upgrades and whatnot, you need to be able to close them. You need to be able to understand the language that they're speaking and how they're going to do it and how you can close that deal. You can find the pain in there. And a lot of people don't realize this, right? Let's say you have a 10-person company. It's an engineering firm, and everybody in that 10-person company makes $120,000 a year. It's about $57 an hour. If one of those people is 1% less efficient, they have an hour or two, if they have at least an hour of issues or 2 hours per month of issues on their computer, emails not sending, computer won't start, I don't know, hard drive fails, whatever it may be, by simply them not working effectively for at least 2 hours or about 1% of their entire time, because you work about 160 hours per month, that could have already paid for at least $100, maybe $150 a seat for IT services, where you could come in, you could fix those issues almost immediately. And if you think like that, of how much that loss is, even if you have Debbie, I'm just using Debbie's name, but you have a Debbie, right? And she works at one of these plumbing companies, an electrical company, and Debbie's afraid to call up the boss man who knows a little bit more about technology and say, hey, boss man, I can't get into my computer. Sometimes it might be days before she actually gets her resolutions for her computer issues. That means if she's making $20 an hour, times all the hours in the day, do the math, right? If she's working an 8-hour day, $20 an hour, it's $160. For $150, you could have done IT services and had her up and running for the rest of the day and resolved any potential issues coming up down the road. And when you portray it like that to the business owner, and you start educating people in either around your area, or I mentioned, joining the local chamber of commerce, and this just happens to be Red Deer, people begin to understand that not only are you going to help make them more money, but you're going to help them be more profitable. There's going to be less headaches, less issues that are going to arise. And overall, at the end of the day, that business owner that's hiring you is going to go to bed knowing that their company is safe and their company is working the way it's supposed to. And that's where it all begins to click. So just to recoup and reiterate, go find partners, cold call, get in the car and start, door knocking. Go in there and say, hey, this is what I do. This is how I help people. Join your local chamber of commerce. I think it's simply a no-brainer. And you'll learn so much from other people, by the way, just by joining your local chamber of commerce, and learn sales. Figure out different ways that you can get basic entry points. Hey, I don't want IT services. That's cool. Hey, I know you need an email. I know you probably need, some kind of antivirus and maybe some backups for your computer. Don't hire me at $100 a seat. Hire me at $40 a seat or $30 a seat. And I'm going to provide all this for you. But you get to your first sale. That 0 to any number outside of your job is the most important numbers out there. And when you go and attack that ruthlessly and you start making your deals, from the day you watch this video, if you implement every single thing I've told you and you spend probably at least 2 hours a day doing it, you'll have your first sale in 7 days. I can almost guarantee it, because when I started doing this, legitimately, I didn't think it was going to be possible because when I just started doing sales, my old boss and my old team and my old sales coaches put this on my mind, and I was crushing sales within days because it didn't seem like I was providing a service. I had confidence in knowing that what I was doing was actually helping a business, and I firmly believed that I was going to make them more money, and that was the defining factor. So if you guys are interested in meeting up with me, I will leave a link down in my calendar below. Other than that, growth-generators.com. My name is Harrison Barron. I appreciate you guys for checking this out, and go crush it and go get your first sale. If you have comments, questions, please leave them down below. This is where I find a lot of ideas for my videos. Other than that, I'll see you guys later.